Hi everyone, my name is Karen Lopez Garcia, and today I will be presenting from Observations to Understanding based on my Applied Experience course here at Bothell. I want to go ahead and start off with a stat that says more than 5 million students in the U.S. public school are English language learners. That's about 1 in 10 students nationwide. That there alone can tell you how diverse our school systems truly are. So I want to go ahead and tell you a little bit about my placement. So I was placed in the North Shore School District, where I was in an ELD classroom, which is an English language development program. I was also in a 7th grade science classroom and an AVID classroom. So my roles in these classrooms were to support students one-on-one. It was also to support smaller groups of students, also help with writing assessments and reading support. So for the personal connection of this and why I felt it was personal to me was because I am a former ELL student that was English language learners. It's now changed to ELD, but I had a language barrier. Spanish was my very first language. I was taken at a very young age back to Mexico after being born here in the US, and I grew up speaking Spanish. When I came here to the United States and I went into preschool, I didn't know how to say, "Hi, my name is Karen." So there was no English there. So I felt a strong connection with these kids in the ELD program who, came here and don't know English, and many of them had to cross borders in order to get here to the United States. So most of these students in the classroom are usually seen as class clowns, challenging students and distracted and avoiding work. I had a special connection with one of these students, and for the longest time, every time I was in the classroom, he was going to one of his classmates, joking around, and I would see the teacher get frustrated at times, but I never saw the teacher or any teacher ask why. So I asked the question. I said, "Hey, why are we not trying to do work, or what can I do to help you out?" And this student said, "Well, I just don't get it." And that's when I knew that it wasn't that he didn't want to do the work, he simply just didn't understand how to do it. He didn't know what to write or how to read it, and so I told him, I was like, "I can go ahead and help you with that if you're willing to try." And he said, "Miss Karen, I will try if you try." And so from this, I observed different of these all these behaviors in different students, especially those in the ELD program. I noticed that a lot of them struggled to express their ideas. They were frustrated when it came to writing. They needed instructions to be more simplified. They needed the instructions to be broken down, literally word by word, because words that you were supposed to read at a 7th grade level, they weren't there yet. So it was hard for them to understand that. They really benefited from one-on-one support. So I began asking questions towards Ms. Maria, who is the ELD program director at North Shore School District. I asked her the question of, why are these kids not at the level that they should be? I mean, these were 7th and 8th grade students that were probably at a kindergarten through 1st, 2nd grade reading level. And that to me was quite shocking. I just didn't understand why many of these students didn't receive the help that they needed earlier before getting into a higher grade. And it made me worried because a lot of these students are in 8th grade and will be heading into high school, where the academic coursework is a lot harder. I saw that these challenges were not invisible in the classroom. You could truly see them, and you knew that they needed to get help. And I just didn't know why they weren't getting the help. So I began to notice this again through all the students, and I remember the teacher telling me their stories and everything behind, like their background, that a lot of them came fleeing from war, came fleeing from violence in their countries, and I began to work with them one-on-one. I asked them questions, I broke it down, and I was in, like I said before, 7th grade science class and an AVID class, so I had them in the beginning of the day. So I was able to work with them from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, and you could just see the enormous difference that was. We learned about context clues. I was able to put that context clue into their use in the 7th grade science class and AVID class. And this experience taught me a lot. It taught me that behavior is a sign of someone having a struggle in something. It supported changes outcomes. So it showed that my support to the students, they were allowed to get higher grades. They were allowed to, express and be the students that they were, that they can get higher grades. They were just mislabeled. And it taught me that having a relationship with a student really matters. I mean, these were students that never asked for help, and once they came up, they knew that someone was there to help them. They came up and they're like, Miss Karen, can you help me in this? Miss Karen, can you help me on that? And I would support them. I would say, oh, you know how to do this. We worked on this last week, and they were able to do that. And they were able to show that they knew stuff. And they became more confident within that. They walked into class with a bigger smile, a confidence. They came in, sat down, got their books open, and they knew exactly what they needed to do. They were able to follow along. They felt a part of their classroom. So with this came personal growth. I learned a lot of patience. You need a lot of patience, and if I thought I had some, this taught me to have even more. I mean, you're sitting down with students that you need to repeat yourself more than once, more than twice, and you really need to understand that it's not that they don't understand, it's that they just don't understand it yet. And I was able to become more aware of signs around the classroom. I was able to say, hey, this student is getting really close to the paper. Does he maybe need glasses? Or, hey, this student isn't fully understanding the question right. Do we need to break it down a little simpler for him to actually get it? And this inspired me to become that support in the classroom. If I already felt like I needed to be a support in the classroom, this inspired me 10 times more than that. And why does this matter? This matters because every student that goes into the classroom comes with some cultural background, comes with a story and experience that needs to be heard. They need to be heard in the classroom in order to succeed, in order for teachers to understand their different styles of learning. And, a lot of the teachers and a lot of the districts in the schools, school districts, they mislabel kids. They just say, oh, you know what? No, he's a class clown. No, maybe he just doesn't understand. Maybe he needs to be evaluated for certain things that we don't even know yet. And it just taught me that, helping students help them be heard. And then I want to go ahead and leave with one last thing. True understanding begins when we look beyond labels. We cannot just label children. We actually have to sit down, create those relationships, understand who they are in order to help them succeed in the future. Thank you.